You eat eggs every single day. Scrambled, fried, boiled, baked into everything you love. Eggs are so normal you probably never even think about them. But here's the thing. You only eat one kind. Out of the thousands of species on this planet that lay eggs, you eat almost exclusively one. Chicken eggs. That's it. No duck eggs at the supermarket, no goose eggs next to the milk, no turkey eggs on the breakfast menu, and when you actually stop and think about that, it becomes one of the strangest things you've ever noticed. Because the question isn't just, why don't we eat other eggs? The real question is, why did your brain never even ask that before today? And the answer reaches all the way back to the very first human decision that shaped everything you now consider normal. Stay until the end. Because the last part is going to change the way you think about every food choice you've ever made. Let's start with the obvious question. Do other animals even produce edible eggs? Yes, completely. Yes, duck eggs, goose eggs, turkey eggs, ostrich eggs, quail eggs, fish eggs, snake eggs, turtle eggs. Virtually every animal that lays an egg lays one that is biologically edible. There is no poison hidden inside a turkey egg waiting to hurt you. There is no chemical in a goose egg that your body can't handle. In fact, duck eggs are larger than chicken eggs, richer in flavor, and packed with more fat and protein. Chefs in high-end kitchens actually prefer them, so the answer is not biology. Your body can handle all of these just fine, which means something else decided this for you, something much older than you. Go back around 10,000 years. Agriculture is just beginning. Humans have been hunter-gatherers for hundreds of thousands of years, eating whatever they could find. But now, for the first time, people are starting to domesticate animals. And they are making a very cold, very practical calculation. If you are going to keep an animal alive and fed every single day, that animal needs to give you something in return. And here is where chickens win in a way that no other bird even comes close. A chicken can lay up to 300 eggs per year. 300. A turkey lays around 100. A duck lays slightly fewer than a chicken but requires more space and more water. A goose lays around 50 eggs per year. 50. And an ostrich, one of the largest birds on the planet, lays somewhere between 40 and 80 eggs annually. So when ancient farmers ran the math, chickens were not even a competition. They were the only rational choice. You are eating chicken eggs today because a farmer 10,000 years ago made the smartest business decision of the ancient world. But wait, that explains why chickens won. It does not explain why we stopped trying all the others. So here's what's fascinating. The answer is not just about production. It's about something deeper. It's about the way humans decide what counts as food in the first place. And it turns out we are extremely bad at being rational about this. There's a concept in anthropology called the omnivore's dilemma. Every human is biologically capable of eating an enormous range of things, but we don't. We choose a tiny slice of what's available and we call it food. Everything outside that slice we call weird or gross or not something we eat. And here's the disturbing part. That line isn't drawn by science, it's drawn by culture. It's drawn by what your parents ate, what your grandparents ate, what the people around you ate when you were a child and your brain was learning what the world is. You did not independently decide that chicken eggs are food and turkey eggs are not. That decision was made for you before you were born. You inherited it. You just never noticed. Paul Rosen, a psychologist at the University of Pennsylvania, spent decades studying how humans decide what counts as food. He found that disgust, the feeling of "that's not food," is one of the most powerful forces in human psychology, and it is almost entirely learned. A child who grows up watching adults eat duck eggs will grow up thinking duck eggs are completely normal. A child who grows up watching adults react with confusion to duck eggs will grow up feeling a quiet, automatic aversion to them. No reasoning required. No evidence required. Just repetition. Just culture. You feel like you are making a free choice when you buy chicken eggs at the store. You are actually replaying a pattern installed in you before you were old enough to speak. Now let's go one layer deeper, because there is another reason why most eggs never made it to your grocery store. And it is surprisingly simple. Chickens were bred over thousands of years specifically to lay eggs continuously. A wild chicken, a junglefowl, lays around 12 eggs per year. Just 12. Early farmers selectively bred the chickens that laid the most. Then they bred those chickens. Then again and again. Over generations, they created an animal that lays almost every single day. An industrial laying hen today can produce around 300 eggs per year, as we said. But that number didn't happen by accident. It happened because humans spent centuries engineering it. Other birds were never engineered that way. We never needed to. We already had the chicken. So here is the situation by the time modern grocery stores were invented. Chickens are producing eggs at a volume no other bird can match. The chicken egg industry is massive, established, and efficient. Infrastructure is already built for it. Distribution systems, refrigeration standards, packaging, the whole machine runs on chicken eggs and only chicken eggs. Now, imagine you are a grocery store owner in the 1950s. Someone wants to sell you turkey eggs. Turkey eggs that are produced at a third of the volume. That require bigger cartons. That have a slightly different shelf life. That your customers have never seen before and might not buy. You say no. Of course you say no. And this happens everywhere, at every store, for every other egg. And the window closes. Not because other eggs are worse, not because your body can't eat them, but because a machine was already running and no one could afford to stop it. Here's something almost nobody knows. Quail eggs actually did escape the system. In Japan, quail eggs are completely normal. They're in grocery stores, on restaurant menus, sold as street food. Babies eat them. Elderly people eat them. They are not exotic. They are Tuesday. And when Japanese people hear that Westerners almost never eat quail eggs, they are just as confused as you are right now, which tells you something devastating. The thing you call normal food is not real. It is a boundary drawn by geography and history. The people on the other side of that boundary feel exactly as certain about their version as you do about yours. Neither of you chose this. You were both handed it. Ostrich eggs are another strange case. One ostrich egg is roughly equivalent to 24 chicken eggs. 24. You could make breakfast for your entire family with a single egg. They are sold in some specialty markets. They taste almost identical to chicken eggs. And yet somehow the image of cracking open a single enormous egg feels, to most people, absurd. Even though it is just math. Even though it is just an egg. That feeling of absurdity is not logical. It is cultural. It is the exact same force that convinced ancient civilizations that certain animals were sacred and couldn't be eaten. The same force that makes something unthinkable in one country completely ordinary in another. You are not exempt from it. You are inside it right now. There is one more layer here, and this one goes even deeper. Think about what happens every time you eat something that feels slightly unfamiliar. There's a tiny moment of hesitation, a flicker of, wait, is this okay? That instinct is ancient. For most of human history, eating the wrong thing could kill you. Unfamiliar food was a genuine risk, so your brain evolved a system. When in doubt, default to what you know. What you've seen others eat. What smells and looks and feels like the food you were raised on. Psychologists call this the mere exposure effect. The more you are exposed to something, the safer it feels. Chicken eggs feel safe because you have seen them 10,000 times. A goose egg feels uncertain because you haven't. That feeling is not a fact. It is a habit wearing the costume of an instinct. And here's the thing, this does not just apply to eggs. It applies to everything. Every aversion you have. Every food you would never eat. Everything you would never try. A huge portion of your personality, your preferences, your sense of self is just repetition, just exposure, just the slow accumulation of what you were shown. Not chosen. Shown. You did not decide most of what feels like you. You inherited it from a world that was built before you arrived. So the next time you open a carton of eggs, think about what you're actually holding. You're holding 10,000 years of human decisions. Ancient farmers selecting for volume, generations of breeding, industrial infrastructure, cultural inheritance, psychological habit. All of it compressed into a small white object on your kitchen counter. The chicken didn't win because it was the best. It won because it was the most useful at exactly the right moment in history. And we never looked back. You never even thought to ask. Until now.